I'm staring at the open cabinet, my breath catching in my throat. There's an empty space where my suitcase used to be. No, not just a suitcase. My life. My promise. I reach inside, fingertips brushing against bare wood. I'm almost afraid to breathe, worried I'll inhale the ghosts still lingering there. Then I see the photo on the nightstand, half covered by a hastily discarded shirt. It's Rebecca's smile, but not for me. She's in the frame with someone else. He's out of focus, but I remember the shape of his jaw, the tilt of his head leaning close to her. Her eyes shimmer, more alive than I've seen them in a long time. That's the moment I feel something inside me break. It's so quiet, it could be mistaken for the faint creak of the closet door. But no, it's my heart, or whatever's left of it. I used to call her Rebecca, my wife. I believed for so long that we were two halves of one soul. My mother used to say, "David, if you don't look after your love, it'll wander off." She was talking about relationships, about the care they need. I should have listened. Because I feel that emptiness now, as if this cabinet is a reflection of me. An echoing void. Outside the window, the Chicago suburbs sprawl under a dull sky. The air feels stale, pressed flat by the city. Normally, I'd be hurrying to the office, a presentation in my hand, coffee in the other. But nothing's normal anymore. Not since I found out. Not since I realized she's been with him. I try to move, but my feet resist. My mind roams to the memory of that day, only last week, but it feels like an entire lifetime. I was supposed to be away on a business trip. She believed I'd be gone 2 nights. I'd left earlier than usual, gave her a quick kiss. She barely returned. I told her I'd come back late Wednesday, but I never got on the plane. A sudden stomach flu took me down just an hour before boarding. Embarrassing as it was, I canceled the trip, took a cab back home, thinking I'd surprise her. She sure surprised me instead. I remember the door was unlocked, a small detail that didn't register at first. Then I heard muffled voices from our bedroom, the soft shuffle of feet. A laugh. Hers. Soft, then hushed. My mind refused to process it, even as I moved quietly down the hallway, heart hammering so loudly I thought they'd hear me. I paused at the door. It was partially open, as though inviting me to witness my own downfall. That's when I saw them. Her hair spilled over his shoulder. Her face was half buried in his neck. He murmured something. She let out a breathy laugh. They were in our bed. In the home we saved years for, the bed we chose after driving all over the city searching for the perfect mattress. I'd like to say I stormed in, that I confronted them both like the righteous husband punishing betrayal. Instead, I froze. My limbs locked, mine spinning. I watched his hand slide up her thigh, her back arch in anticipation. She moaned, so softly it tore through me. Something in me died then, or at least went numb. I stood there, witnessing my own erasure. When they finished, she pressed her head to his chest, both of them breathing heavily. He brushed her hair aside, and they whispered words I couldn't make out. I tried to swallow, but my throat was lined with sandpaper. My entire body shook with a quiet rage, with heartbreak. I felt my fists clench and unclench. But fear or disbelief pinned me in place. It could have been 10 minutes, or just a few seconds. I still can't tell. But eventually, I found myself backing away. I slipped outside, pressed my body against the wall of the corridor, sweat trickling down my forehead, as if I'd run a marathon. I waited until they were too lost in one another to notice me creeping toward the door again. I left the house, aimless, my vision blurred, tears I refused to let fall stinging behind my eyes. I didn't go far, just sat in my car and stared blankly at the steering wheel, praying this was some twisted fever dream. Eventually, I drove to a motel on the outskirts of town and spent the night perched on the edge of a lumpy bed, silent and numb. Now, as I stand here in our bedroom, I inhale what's left of them. The air is thick with his cologne. There's a faint musk that doesn't belong to me, a trace of sweat and regret. My eyes drift back to the photo on the nightstand. She's wearing the same floral blouse I bought for her last birthday, but the delight in her eyes isn't for me. It's for him, James J. Anderson, a name that's begun to haunt me. Freelance photographer, the man who apparently enthralled my wife with the promise of excitement and artistic chaos I never provided. I step away from the closet, blinking to clear the confusion. My first thought is a wave of irrational guilt. Did I fail her so utterly that she had to seek this rush of lust and fascination elsewhere? But the anger follows, cold and clean, a shard of ice in my chest. She made a vow. She broke it. I pull the ring off my finger. I hold it in the palm of my hand, turning it over. It catches the morning light, sending weak reflections onto the walls. I recall the day I slipped it onto her finger. Rebecca Sullivan back then. Her face was so full of trust, of hope. My heart clenches, and a bitter taste floods my mouth. I push the ring into my pocket, not wanting to see it anymore. The house is too quiet. I hear the blood rushing in my ears, feel the heaviness in my gut. Everything in me wants to break something, to shatter a vase or punch the wall. But I resist. Instead, I force myself to the kitchen. I stand at the sink, running the faucet, as though water can wash away the poison in my mind. Last night, she came home late, wearing an apologetic smile. She never knew I'd discovered their secret. I pretended to be half asleep on the couch, ignoring her attempts at small talk. That's how it's been all week. She's lying, I'm lying. We're both sinking in this pit of deceit. The next few days pass in a haze. I go to work, deliver my marketing presentations, scribble pointless notes, and come home to the same tension. She tries to hide her guilt behind forced cheeriness. I respond with feigned ignorance, a polite emptiness. We orbit around each other, engaged in this twisted dance of pretense. One evening, I see her rummaging in the cabinet, searching for a suitcase. She thinks she's being discreet, but I notice. My heart thunders. I say nothing. She glances over at me, eyes wide, startled. I offer a thin smile, no warmth in it at all. You going somewhere? I ask lightly. She stammers. Just. Might need to visit my sister for a weekend. She's had a rough time. I nod, forcing casual interest. Right. Need any help packing? She shakes her head. No. I'm good. I notice her hands trembling. If she thinks I'm fooled, she's wrong. But I maintain the charade. She's probably going away with him. My wife and this man, meeting in some artsy getaway. The idea sends a cold spike through my veins, but I keep the facade. I know I have to confront her eventually, but every time I try to form the words. Accusations, demands for an explanation. They die in my throat. I feel weak, powerless, and that fuels my anger like dry kindling ready to ignite. Late one night, I see her phone abandoned on the coffee table. She's in the shower, the water beating down behind closed doors. My pulse quickens. Should I look? Morally, it's questionable. But what's morality worth when she's already broken our vows? I grab the phone, open her messages. Jay's name is pinned to the top. My throat tightens. The conversation's explicit. He's describing how he misses her body, how the scent of her still clings to his sheets. She responds with equal fervor, recalling the last time they were together. My stomach twists, a slow boil of hatred and devastation. I see her mention they'll meet this weekend at a quiet hotel near the lake. The words blur, so it's real. It's not just one misstep. It's ongoing, methodical, well-planned. I place the phone back exactly as it was. My hands are clammy, heart pounding like it might burst. I want to confront her right now, barge into the bathroom, demand an explanation. But some part of me, the darkest part, wants to see this to the end. Wants to collect more evidence, to watch them squirm when the mask finally slips. Maybe it's petty. Maybe it's my primal drive to inflict the same level of pain they've inflicted on me. I swallow, turning away from the phone. My reflection in the black TV screen catches my eye. I look gaunt, eyes hollow, as though I'm peering back at a stranger. Is this the man I've become? Someone so consumed by quiet rage that he clings to it like a lifeline. The weekend comes. She leaves early Saturday, carrying a small bag, her expression a strained attempt at normalcy. "Don't wait up for me," she says with a forced laugh. "My sister and I might have a late night." I nod, forcing a playful smirk. "Have fun." My voice is pure venom masked with sugar. I can see her eyes flicker with guilt, but she's too far gone to turn back now. The moment she's out the door, I jump into my car. My heart is pumping as if I've sprinted a mile. I know the name of the lakeside town from the text. It's about an hour's drive. If I time it right, I can see them, catch them in the act. But do I really want to see that again? Yes, something in me whispers that I need to, or I'll never find closure. I can't move forward with half measures. It's nearly noon when I arrive. The lake shore is busy with tourists enjoying the early autumn breeze, couples strolling with ice cream cones. I find the quiet hotel, a modest place with a partial view of the water and park. I feel like a detective in a cheap film noir, but my chest is tight with dread, hands trembling on the steering wheel. I wonder how far I'll go. Will I break down their door, or just watch from a corner like a coward again? I check the lobby. The clerk at the desk barely notices me. I step into the hallway, scanning the numbers. My stomach clenches. Room 214. That's what I gleaned from her messages. I stand there for minutes, maybe longer, motionless in front of the door. Fear and fury wage war in my chest. I can hear faint laughter, then silence, then the creak of the bed. I turn the knob. Locked, of course. A wave of nausea hits me. I imagine them in there, bodies entwined, the same hush of breathing I heard in my own bedroom. My body quivers with the memory, so vivid it might as well be happening in front of me. I see flashbacks of her face, contorted in pleasure she once reserved for me. Footsteps approach from the corridor. A couple pass by, giving me a curious glance. I pretend I'm searching for the ice machine. After they disappear, I realize how insane this is. I can't do it. I can't break down that door. I'm not ready for the final confrontation. I stagger away, half blind. I slip out of the hotel, the crisp air stinging my cheeks. People around me are smiling, enjoying the carefree afternoon, while I drag my heartbreak around like a corpse. I see them all in slow motion, each of them living a life I can't comprehend anymore. That night, I call her. She answers, out of breath. I can almost hear him in the background. "Hey," I say, voice shaky with suppressed tension. "How's your sister?" There's a short pause. "She's fine. We're actually just grabbing a bite." "Great," I force out, each syllable tasting like metal. "Enjoy." She tries to say something else, an excuse or a sign-off, but I hang up. My hand is damp, and I toss the phone onto the passenger seat, not wanting to look at it. I'm parked near the edge of a public lot, across the street from the hotel. Through the windshield, I see couples heading back to their rooms, arms linked. I spend the night in the car, drifting in and out of restless sleep. Every so often, I jerk awake, expecting to see them walk out together. But they never do. By morning, my back aches, and a film of sweat clings to my skin. My mind is raw, so battered it feels like an exposed nerve. I consider leaving, but a cold part of me wants to face her. I must. I can't keep living like this. And if I see him, so be it. At around 9, they emerge. She's wearing jeans and a loose sweater I don't recognize. Her hair is up, a casual bun. He's behind her, cameras slung over his shoulder. I see her toss him a playful smile, the very smile she used to give me in our early days. His hand drifts to the small of her back, a practiced gesture of possession. I lurch forward, wanting to storm over there, but my legs feel like lead. I watch them walk to a red sedan, load up their bags. Then they drive off together, heading out of the parking lot. A searing pain locks me in place. I can only watch. I can only bleed inside. When I finally make it back to our house that evening, she's already home. She's arranged a vase of flowers on the kitchen table, a forced attempt at normalcy. I notice she's humming a little tune, probably Mirrors. I walk in, toss my keys onto the counter with a loud clatter. She jerks her head up, startled. "Oh hey," she says, turning around too quickly. "How was your weekend?" I muster a weak grin. "Fine. Did you enjoy your sister's place?" Her hands tighten around a dish towel. "Yeah, it was nice." I close the distance between us, leaning a fraction closer than usual. She tries to step back, but I press my palm gently against the countertop, blocking her path. "Rebecca," I say, my voice quiet, "don't lie to me." She stiffens, her eyes wide. "What do you mean?" A short laugh escapes my throat, bitter, hollow. "I think you know. But if you want me to spell it out, I can." She swallows, glancing down. Her breath hitches. For a moment, neither of us moves. The tension is so thick, it feels like a separate presence in the room. "David," she whispers, her voice trembling. Shay," I say, pressing my finger lightly to her lips. "We'll talk soon. But not tonight, okay?" I catch a glimpse of relief and confusion in her eyes. She gives me a slight nod. I give her a tight smile, one that carries all the poison in my veins. Then I turn and walk away, my footsteps echoing through the hallway like the toll of a funeral bell. That night, I dream of an empty cabinet, large enough to crawl inside. I dream of suffocating, no air, no light, the smell of stale memories choking me. Rebecca's voice calls me from somewhere unreachable, laughter that twists into a sob. I jolt awake in a sweat, my chest heaving. I decide the moment has come. This can't go on. If I don't act, it'll kill me or drive me insane. Exposition has ended. This is where everything escalates. The next morning, I get up early, rummaging in the living room until I find something symbolic, my father's old metal flask. On its surface is a fading engraving. "Drink for your conscience." A memento from a man who taught me the difference between moral and immoral, right and wrong. I slip it into my jacket pocket. Maybe it's petty, but I want her to see it. I want her to feel something as real as the burn in my chest. Rebecca emerges from the bedroom, her hair tousled, wearing an old bathrobe. She regards me warily. "You're up early." I swallow. "Yeah. Couldn't sleep. Thought maybe we could talk." Her eyes flicker with alarm, but she musters a nod. We sit at the kitchen table, the pale morning light accentuating the darkness in her gaze. She starts to speak, but I hold up a hand. "I know everything," I say softly. "I saw you with him. I've read your texts. I'm not stupid." She opens her mouth, but no words come out. Her lower lip quivers. I'm sorry, David. I never wanted to hurt you." A humorless chuckle leaves my throat. "Really? Because you did a pretty thorough job. You brought him into our bed." Rebecca. She covers her face with her hands. "I'm so sorry," she repeats, her voice muffled. "I didn't know how to stop. It just happened, and You're not a child." I snap, my voice low and venomous. "We both know it didn't just happen. You chose this." She nods, tears slipping through her fingers. I watch them fall, wanting to feel satisfaction or relief, but I feel nothing. The numbness is creeping in again, insulating me from the pain. That's when she tries to put her hand on mine. I flinch away. "Don't touch me," I growl. We stare at each other for a long moment, the silence broken only by the hum of the refrigerator. She wipes her cheeks and draws a shaky breath. "Where do we go from here?" I exhale, tension coiled in every muscle. "I don't know. But I'll tell you this. If you think we're going to patch things up with a few therapy sessions and some tears, you're wrong." Her voice trembles. "I deserve that. I won't ask you to forgive me. I cut her off again. Good, because I'm not feeling very forgiving. She lowers her gaze. I'll leave if you want me to. Or if you want me to stay, to try and fix. I stand abruptly, the chair scraping across the floor. We're not done, I say. We're far from done. Then I walk out, leaving her slumped at the table in silence. I spend the afternoon in a kind of manic haze, pacing the house, picking things up and putting them down without reason. My mind races with 1,000 chaotic thoughts. Images of her with him, the taste of betrayal, the echo of her sobs. At one point, I hurl an old picture frame against the wall, glass shattering. I half expect her to run in and beg me to calm down, but she doesn't appear. Maybe she's locked away in the bedroom, or maybe she left. I'm beyond caring. Eventually, my phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. I open it and see, David, please, let's talk. I know you know. I want to meet. My stomach tightens. It's Jay. He must have gotten my number from her phone, or from some twisted logic of wanting to make things right. My first reaction is a bark of incredulous laughter. The nerve of him. Then an idea forms, cold and deliberate. If he wants to talk, let him. Let him stare into my eyes and see what he's destroyed. Maybe it'll be a chance for me to end this properly. Or maybe it's a chance for something darker, something that'll let me walk away with my dignity in pieces, but at least with a sense of retribution. I text back, tomorrow, 8 p.m., the bar on Oakland Avenue, come alone. He replies with a simple, okay. The day drags. Rebecca tries to approach me a few times, but I give her one-word answers, locking myself in the office. My mind is fixated on the upcoming confrontation, my body humming with tension. I sense this is my turning point, my chance to do something about this humiliation. My father once said, some truths must be spoken to set the world right. But part of me wants more than truth. I want justice, or maybe vengeance. When the clock hits 7 the next evening, I slip on a jacket. Rebecca's in the living room, perched anxiously on the couch, arms wrapped around her knees. She spots me and stands. Where are you going? She asks, voice soft. I force a grin. Just out for a bit. Don't wait up. She looks like she wants to beg for more information, but she stays silent. I step into the cool night air, ignoring the persistent ache in my chest. The bar on Oakland Ave is dimly lit, a fitting place for clandestine meetings and broken hearts. I arrive 10 minutes early, grabbing a booth in the back corner. My knee bounces anxiously, heart pounding. A million scenarios play in my mind. Will he come? Will we talk calmly or end up throwing punches? Jay arrives right on time. He walks in, scanning the room, then spots me and approaches. He sets his camera bag down gently before sliding into the seat across from me. We size each other up in silence for a few long seconds. He's not what I expected. Slightly younger, but with the weary eyes of someone who's seen too many heartbreaks. A faint stubble on his jaw, hair brushed back in a casual wave. His expression is uncertain, maybe remorseful. David, he begins, voice low. I'm not here to fight. I lift a hand, cutting him off. Why did you want to meet? He exhales, glancing down at his hands. Because I didn't want things to escalate. I wanted to apologize, to explain. Explain what? My voice is calm, but inside, I'm unraveling. That you decided my wife was fair game. That you snuck around my back, in my own house. He flinches. Look, it happened gradually. We connected over conversation, photography, writing. I never wanted to cause this much pain. Oh, so you were after less pain. A smaller betrayal. I let out a bitter laugh. That's generous of you. He drops his gaze again. I know. I deserve your anger. I just thought, maybe we could talk man to man. Figure out what. I slam my hand on the table, rattling our glasses. You don't get to say man to me, not after what you did. My voice shakes, and I lean forward. Do you love her? His eyes widen. What? Do you love her? I spit out each word. He hesitates, then nods slowly. I do. At least, I think I do. We share something real. My stomach churns. I hold his gaze, searching for a sign of uncertainty, of doubt. Instead, I see that flicker of sincerity. I realize with a sick jolt that maybe he's telling the truth. I lean back, my head pounding. So that's how it is. My wife, your lover, happily carrying on. Congratulations. Glad you found your real connection. Jay's eyes fill with regret. It wasn't planned. We never meant to hurt you. We can't seem to let each other go. Nausea claws at my gut. I picture them together, breathing each other in. My next words come out twisted by pain. Then maybe I'll let you have her. He looks startled. Wait. What? I swirl my drink, the ice clinking. Why not? She's clearly made her choice, right? So, be happy. Move on with your lives. He eyes me warily. David, you can't mean that. I shrug. Who am I to stand in the way of true love? My sarcasm drips like acid. A long silence stretches. Finally, Jay reaches into his jacket. For a heartbeat, I tense, expecting something violent. But he just pulls out an envelope. She asked me to deliver this. She thought maybe you'd throw it away if she tried to give it to you in person. I stare at the envelope. What is it? She wrote you a letter. It's raw. I guess she wanted you to read it. I snort. She can tell me to my face, or not at all. He lays the envelope on the table. Do whatever you want with it. This is between you two. You only came to try to polish your conscience. I snap, grabbing the envelope. You think this helps? You think any of this can be undone? He lowers his head. No. But I had to try. We sit in tense silence. Finally, I down my drink in one gulp. I stand up. We're done here. He makes no move to stop me. As I walk away, I can feel his eyes on my back. But I don't look back. Outside, a raw wind stings my face. I clutch the envelope in my hand, uncertain whether to rip it to shreds or read it. My mind is a tempest of conflicting impulses. I end up shoving it into my jacket pocket and driving home, teeth gritted against the swirl of thoughts. When I walk in, Rebecca is by the window, arms folded, staring into darkness. She turns, eyes damp. The tension in the air is suffocating. You saw him, didn't you? She asks, voice trembling. I nod, tossing my keys on the table. She steps forward, searching my face. What did he say? I release a cold laugh. You really want to know? He tried to justify himself, told me how deep your connection is. Then he handed me this. I pull out the envelope, hold it up. Her cheeks flush. I wasn't sure you'd read it. I raise an eyebrow. What's in here? She closes her eyes. Everything I couldn't say. I turn it over, debating. Do you honestly think a letter will fix this? She shakes her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. No, but I needed to try. I step closer, my breath ragged. Rebecca, do you still love him? Her lips part, but no words come. That's all the answer I need. I laugh, harsh, humorless, and then I drop the envelope on the table. A numb calmness envelops me. I'll read it, I say quietly. But I don't promise anything. She nods, swallowing hard. Okay. I walk out of the room, every step feeling like a farewell. When I'm alone in the study, I finally tear open the envelope. Her handwriting is neat, but shaky in places. It's a long letter, apologies and confessions. She writes about feeling lonely, about drifting from me over the years. She blames neither of us entirely but references the spark she found in Jay, how it reminded her she was alive. She says she never stopped loving me, but she doesn't know how to separate love from guilt anymore. She begs for a chance to talk, to see if we can salvage anything. But the final paragraphs read like an admission that if I can't give that chance, she'll understand. I set the letter down, heart pounding. The words swirl in my head, colliding with the memory of them together, the look in Jay's eyes, the hush in her voice. Slowly, I realize that an odd clarity is forming in my mind. I remember my father's flask, that engraving, "Drink for your conscience," a mocking echo. My conscience is telling me that no matter how this ends, it has to end honestly. That night, I confront her. I bring the flask, place it on the coffee table between us. She looks at it, then back at me, confused. "You remember this?" I say softly. "My father's flask. He believed a man should own his conscience, not run from it." She hugs a throw pillow to her chest, nodding. "I remember. You showed it to me a long time ago." I sit across from her, leaning forward. "So let's do this. Let's speak the truth. No more secrets. No more lies. Tell me everything you feel. Then I'll tell you everything I feel." She inhales, eyes glistening. "I'm terrified, David." I manage a half smile. "Yeah, me too. Do it anyway." What follows is the hardest conversation of my life. She tells me about how the spark died for her, little by little, while I was so busy with work. How she yearned for passion, excitement, some sense that she wasn't just an afterthought in my life. She met Jay at a local gallery. They connected over writing, over creative pursuits I'd never shared with her. One thing led to another. She insists she tried to resist, but her voice rings hollow. Her tears drip into the pillow, and she looks so small, so frail. I listen in silence, refusing to comfort her. My entire being feels like it's on the verge of collapse, but I hold steady. When she finishes, I see the guilt written all over her face, but also a stubborn hint of longing. For him, for her freedom, for something I can't fully comprehend. She wipes her eyes. "Your turn," she whispers. I rake my fingers through my hair, exhaling tremulously. I feel betrayed. I feel humiliated. And you know what else I feel? Relief. Her eyes flick up, startled. Relief? I nod, swallowing the lump in my throat. Because this rotting secret is finally in the open. Because I've felt our distance for years too, but I was too damned scared to confront it. "I poured myself into work instead of you," she sobs, covering her mouth. I press on, ignoring her tears. "I'm furious. I want to hurt you back, to make you bleed the way I have. But I also realize that maybe we both let this slip away." She tries to speak, but I hold up a hand. "You asked me for a chance to fix it. I don't know if I can. The image of you two, it's burned into my brain." I exhale, a shuddering breath. "If you want to be with him, if that's where your heart is, then go. But don't ask me to wait for you or accept it. Because I won't." For a moment, she just cries softly. Then she lifts her head, eyes raw. "I'm so sorry, David. If I could turn back time, I would." My jaw tightens. "But you can't. None of us can. So here we are." That's the pivot point. The next days move with agonizing slowness, a swirl of tension and half-spoken words. She remains in the house, sleeping in the spare room. Some nights, I hear her weep. I shut my eyes, fists clenched, trying not to care. But part of me does. We're like two ghosts, wandering corridors that used to be alive with laughter. At work, I'm distant, making sloppy mistakes. My boss calls me in, concerned. I mumble an excuse about personal stress. He offers me time off, but I can't imagine being trapped at home all day with these unresolved feelings. Then, one evening, she approaches me cautiously in the living room. "Jay asked me to move in with him," she admits. Her voice is hollow. I stare at her, a current of anger shooting through me. "Are you going?" She looks at the floor. "I don't know. He says it's just until we figure things out." A humorless smirk crosses my face. "So you want to figure out your marriage by living with your lover? That's creative." Her cheeks flush. I'm trying to be honest. I want your forgiveness, but I also don't know if I can walk away from him. I let out a trembling breath. You can't have us both, Rebecca. This isn't a game. She nods, tears forming. I know. I feel something inside snap. The idea that she's weighing me and him on a scale tears me apart. Then go, I say, voice trembling. Go be with him. Don't make me watch you agonize. Her eyes fill with sorrow. David. I wave a hand, ending the conversation. Just go. She does. The next morning, she packs a few bags, tries to talk to me in the foyer. I can't bear to listen. My entire being is consumed by rage and heartbreak. I stand there, cold, arms folded. She leans in, as though for a final hug, but I step back. Her face contorts in pain. Then she opens the door and leaves. The sound of her suitcase wheels scraping across the concrete echoes in my skull. That night, the house is too large, too silent. I wander room to room, thinking about all the dreams we once had. My ring sits on the kitchen counter. I pick it up, slip it on, then pull it off again, repeating the action, my mind unraveling. Finally, I fling it into the empty cabinet in our bedroom, the hollow space that started this entire nightmare. The ring clatters and disappears from sight. Days pass, then weeks. I learn through mutual friends that she's living with Jay in a cramped downtown loft. She hasn't filed for divorce yet, nor have I. We're stuck in limbo, as if refusing to take that final step will keep the last shred of hope alive. But my anger festers day by day. I start drinking more, ignoring calls from my own mother, from my coworkers. My mind is fixated on revenge, on making them pay. I imagine confrontations, humiliating them in public, trashing his photography exhibitions, or something even darker. I can't stand the helplessness I feel. The opportunity for vengeance arrives unexpectedly. I'm at a coffee shop when I see a poster for Jay's upcoming gallery show. He's showcasing his new work downtown in a fancy venue, probably photos of random strangers, angled in some artistic manner. The date is next week. My heart hammers. A sinister idea sparks in my mind. The night of the opening, I dress in a simple black suit. My reflection in the mirror is grim, hollow-eyed. But I force a calm exterior. I arrive at the gallery, weaving through the well-dressed crowd. Soft music plays, and people sip wine, nodding thoughtfully at the framed prints. I spot Jay near a cluster of guests, speaking enthusiastically about one of his pieces. Rebecca stands beside him, wearing a flowing dress, trying to smile. I see the flicker of tension in her eyes as they meet mine across the room. She goes pale. Jay notices and follows her gaze. His face tenses. I approach them, ignoring the curious glances of the onlookers. This is my moment, the showdown. They both stand there, uncertain. My heart pounds, but my expression remains eerily calm. David, Jay begins, clearing his throat. Hello, you two, I say softly. Lovely exhibit. I make a show of looking around at the photographs. You've really captured life's raw edges, haven't you? Rebecca's eyes well up with emotion. What are you doing here? She whispers. I smile. A tight, bitter curve. Couldn't resist an invitation to see what real art looks like. The sarcasm is thick, but I keep my tone pleasant enough that the nearby guests can't immediately sense the malice. Jay starts to say something, but I hold up a finger, spinning to address the small gathering around us. Ladies and gentlemen, might I have a moment of your time? I step in front of one of Jay's larger prints, an abstract shot of a woman's silhouette. He pales. David, this isn't the place. I ignore him, my voice rising so the onlookers can hear. This artist here is quite talented. I commend him on capturing intimacy, closeness. I glance pointedly at Rebecca. I know from personal experience he's an expert at forging deep connections. A ripple of murmurs runs through the crowd, eyes darting between me, Jay, and Rebecca. My pulse is racing. But I press on. My lips curl in a humorless smile. In fact, I'd say he's a master of capturing what doesn't belong to him. Jay steps forward, his face flushed. David, stop. Rebecca's face contorts in horror. Please, she whispers. I hold Jay's gaze, my voice like ice. Why? This is just the truth, right? Isn't that what art is all about? Revealing hidden truths. Some of the guests frown, confused. A few step back, not wanting to be caught in the crossfire. Tension crackles in the air. I feel a savage satisfaction coursing through me. This is my revenge. A public unveiling of their betrayal in the very place. He's seeking admiration and praise. Jay reaches out as if to silence me, but I slap his hand away. My voice trembles with raw intensity. People deserve to know who they're praising. A man who seduced another man's wife in his own bed. Rebecca's eyes shine with tears. She tries to step between us. Please, David. Enough. I level my gaze at her. Enough. If you wanted enough, you should have thought about that before. The crowd is fully aware now that this is no polite conversation. An older gentleman sets his wine glass down, alarmed. The tension is suffocating. For a moment, no one speaks. Jay stands there, fists clenched, face torn between anger and guilt. I turn to the onlookers, voice steady but full of scorn. Enjoy the show, everyone. Just remember that behind these pretty pictures is a man who won't hesitate to destroy a marriage for his own satisfaction. Jay finally snaps. You have no right. He starts, but I cut him off. I have every right. I hiss, stepping closer. You destroyed my life. This is what you get. He lunges forward, perhaps to restrain me, but I duck away, moving around him with surprising speed. My breath is ragged. My mind feels oddly clear, fueled by the adrenaline of humiliating them both. Rebecca steps up, tears streaking her cheeks. She tries to grab my arm. Stop it, she pleads. Enough, David. You've made your point. I look at her, feeling the raw ache in my chest. My voice drops to a whisper only she can hear. Has it hurt enough yet? Because it'll never match what I've felt. Her lip trembles. I know, she breathes. I'm sorry. I tear my arm away, ignoring her sob. With a final cold glare at Jay, I stride out, heart pounding like a war drum. Outside, the night air hits me like a slap. My body trembles, a mix of triumph and shame. I wanted revenge, and I got it, but an emptiness settles over me. This victory feels hollow. At home, I collapse onto the couch, burying my face in my hands. My mind replays the scene. Their shocked faces, the murmuring crowd, the taste of my rage. I wonder if I've just sealed our fates for good. There's no going back now. I've done my damage, inflicted my public revenge. And yet I'm left with a raw pit in my chest, an ache that no amount of retribution can soothe. I think about the empty cabinet, the ring lost inside it, the vow we made so many years ago. I remember the warmth of her laughter when we were young, the dreams we had of building a life together. Now, I stare at it in the dim light, a swirl of memories assaulting me. This ring meant a lifetime promise. Now it feels like a shackle of betrayal. I slide it onto my finger one last time, then yank it off. In a surge of finality, I hurl it across the room. It bounces once, then disappears under the bed, a forgotten relic. A week later, Rebecca appears at the door. She's alone, eyes rimmed with sadness. She looks paler, thinner, as though the guilt and grief have gnawed at her too. I let her in, not bothering to hide my scorn. She stands in the hallway, hands trembling. I had to see you, she whispers. I needed to see how you're doing. I shrug, feigning indifference. I'm still breathing. She bows her head. You hurt him pretty badly that night. His gallery show was overshadowed by the drama. He lost a lot of potential buyers. My voice is ice. Good. He deserved it. She looks like she wants to protest, but then her gaze softens. I suppose we all deserve something. But I'm not here to argue. David, I'm sorry. I lean against the wall, crossing my arms. So you've said 1,000 times. She nods, tears in her eyes. I won't ask you to take me back. I just hope, for your sake, you can find some peace. Silence stretches between us. Then she steps closer, and I catch the faint scent of her perfume. My stomach twists in regret, longing, and resentment all at once. I remain still, letting her approach, unsure what else to do. She lifts a trembling hand, gently touching the side of my face. A jolt of memory surges through me. Our first kiss, the warmth of her body on that wedding night so many years ago. My eyes burn with tears I refuse to shed. David, she murmurs, voice thick. Is there any chance for us? I swallow hard, my throat constricting. I don't know. I rasp, barely above a whisper. After everything. I can't look at you without seeing him. She closes her eyes, pain etched on her face. I understand. I gently push her hand away, forcing the words out. Time doesn't heal, it just erases. Maybe one day I won't remember the details so vividly. But I'll never forgive. A tear slips down her cheek. Then, goodbye. I exhale, feeling an odd sense of finality. Goodbye, Rebecca. She turns and walks out. I watch her go, every step echoing in my mind. The door clicks shut. A wave of exhaustion crushes me, and I slide down the wall, head in my hands. My body trembles with sobs I've held in too long. I don't know if this is truly an ending. Maybe it's just the start of a different life, one where betrayal is carved into my memory, shaping everything I do from now on. But for this moment, I let the tears fall. I let the numbness seep out. My father's flask rests on the table, a silent witness to the choices we've all made. Drink for your conscience, a mocking reminder of the man I used to be. I sit there, alone, listening to my ragged breaths. Anger, sorrow, relief, they swirl into one tumultuous wave. And in that raw, painful stillness, I feel the faint flicker of something I can't fully name. Maybe it's closure. Maybe it's just emptiness. Or maybe it's a glimmer of understanding that I'm still here, alive, despite it all. I force myself to stand, wiping my face with the back of my hand. I walk to the cabinet, the same empty space that started this nightmare. I stare at it, the silent emptiness reflecting my own battered soul. Then I close the door, as firmly as I can, and let out a long, trembling breath. No, time won't heal me. But time will erase enough details that someday I might be able to move without this crushing weight on my chest. I take one final glance around the living room. In the quiet, I whisper to myself, this is the end, though I'm not sure if I believe it. Still, I say it again, firmer, this is the end. And in that moment, the house feels a fraction lighter, like maybe, just maybe, there's a future beyond this pain. Or maybe there's only emptiness. Either way, I have no more words left, so I close my eyes and let the silence envelop me.